Do you have a passion for recommending music to your friends and family? Well, now you can have your very own site to do just that. It's called a Burn Lounge. A Burn Lounge is like having your own corner record store on the web, where you can feature music from our catalog of over 1 million songs from today's top artists, and then create and legally share burn lists with your friends. It's easy. Just choose your music and you're off. Every time you sell a download, you get Burn Rewards, which can be redeemed for music and merchandise in your store. You can also sell a Burn Lounge to your friends. Building a network of Burn Lounge stores means you not only can earn Burn Rewards from sales in your own store, but from sales generated by your entire team. Every Burn Lounge comes with all the tools you'll need to build your Burn Lounge and get customers. You'll also get access to Front Burner, the online community for Burn Lounge owners. And every Burn Lounge owner gets a free copy of Burn Lounge magazine, which keeps you up to date on the latest trends in entertainment and technology. So if music is what you're about, make music what you do. Burn Lounge. Finally, music stores of, by, and for the people.
Burn Lounge. The heck is a Burn Lounge? Is it a lounge that's on fire? No. But it might have been better if that were the case. At least it would have been able to keep something warm. BurnLounge was a company that, well, their business model was a little bit unique and distinctive, but in effect they were a big old scam. They were a pyramid scheme. Without question. They were literally found guilty of it, and were forced to pay back millions of dollars to people who they had, interestingly enough, burned in their particular field. They considered themselves a multi-level marketing company, but in reality they were simply a pyramid scheme, and some would argue that there's no difference between the two. And I agree, but under US law there is a distinction. For one thing, MLMs are still technically legal, but they definitely ear very close to a pyramid scheme. But the difference is down to a few minor factors. But to begin with, in multi-level marketing, the company gets their revenue from a non-salaried workforce that is selling the company's products or services. The earnings of the participants in the workforce are derived from a commission system based on what that workforce sells, if they're selling anything. But the company itself generally doesn't make much or hardly anything on the products. They're making everything from the packages that their workforce are buying from them. If it sounds like a scam, it usually kind of boils down to that, because while many multi-level marketing companies will attract you with promises of big earnings and amazing returns on your investment, in reality, the vast majority of people wind up losing money on these particular schemes. A pyramid scheme is highly similar, and once again the company earns money through a non-salaried workforce, but it's mainly focused on recruiting new members with the promises of big earnings. The more members they get, the more money they're making. Though, after a while, it isn't sustainable. Even people that do manage to make some money will eventually stop because the company will oversaturate their own market with themselves after a while. They'll stop getting new participants, and the participants involved will stop giving them money. Since they weren't making any money off of the products necessarily, and the products aren't really selling, usually it's mostly useless garbage, it will inevitably fall apart. And if they sound like basically the same thing, that's because they are, but MLMs, generally speaking, are at least slightly more honest than a pyramid scheme. Amway is probably one of the most well-known MLMs, and in 1979 it was found that they did not fit the definition of a full-tilt pyramid scheme, which is why they're still around, because of several reasons. Amway doesn't pay their distributors to recruit more people, which is something that's very common in a pyramid scheme. They also don't require their distributors to pay for a large stock of inventory they have no hope of selling. They do require their distributors to maintain certain retail sales levels of at least 10 pieces of inventory per month, so they are focused on getting their distributors to actually make sales. And Amway required both themselves as well as all their distributors to accept returns of excess inventory from bottom-tier distributors. So Amway basically is just a lot nicer as a pyramid scheme, more kind to the workforce they're somewhat abusing, where a full-tilt pyramid scheme is an outright scam. And the reason, again, I bring this up is that while BurnLounge coined themselves as a multi-level marketing company, they were, in fact, just a flat-out pyramid scheme. They were dishonest, and even at face value, their particular market strategy was, frankly, ridiculous. Because if you gave it any amount of thought, it was never going to work out for anybody. See, BurnLounge was an online music store, founded in 2004 and based in New York City. The way it worked is that they allowed customers to preview and purchase music. They could also chat with each other through a proprietary client. So it's what, iTunes? And yes, in effect, but they never meant to compete with iTunes. That was, of course, their members' jobs, who they referred to as Moguls. The Moguls would, of course, pay multiple different tiers of subscription fees and other associated costs to create their own custom pages and sell music through their pages. It's like owning your own music retail shop online. Yeah? That's the same? Absolutely. Except, why would anybody on this planet go to a random custom storefront through BurnLounge to buy music when they could just go to iTunes? It didn't help that BurnLounge often didn't have the latest musical tracks. Shops like iTunes and direct competitors often had the latest stuff, whereas BurnLounge offered older tracks, things that people often already had on CDs and that sort of thing. And even if you did manage to sell a single song on your custom storefront, the commission was only 5 cents per 99-cent download. You'd get a nickel every time someone purchased a song off your custom storefront. BurnLounge got the rest. Really? And people thought this was a good idea. Interesting. Well, most of that wasn't said outright, because BurnLounge's modus operandi was a lot of deception, frankly, as well as inflated promises, which is just classic pyramid scheme right there. But let's talk about those subscription packages, because of course you had to pay them to even get the storefront in the first place. There were 3 packages on offer. The basic, which was just $29.95 per year. Not bad, all things considered. Exclusive, which is $129.95 per year, plus an additional $8 per month. Really? Or VIP, absolutely horrifying $429.95 per year, plus the $8 per month. And even when you sold the music, technically speaking, you weren't paid in flat-out money. Oh no, they had a way around that too. You know how when you play a free-to-play video game, which are common enough nowadays, and whenever you put money into it to get a skin or whatever it is you want, it gives you points, some kind of arbitrary, exclusive points within the game that you have to turn your money into and then spend from the points? Yeah, BurnLounge did the exact same thing, except they paid people in reward points. Now, you could trade those points in for cash. It was possible. But in order to have that privilege, you had to pay an additional $6.95 per month. You had to pay them to get them to pay you. What? This is all, of course, assuming you make any money at all, which is unlikely. As I said, it was just 5 cents per 99-cent song, or, alternatively, 50 cents for selling a $9.90 album. Oh, if you got the full album, you got 2 quarters! Oh my god, you're really rolling in the dough now, aren't ya? But, like any true pyramid scheme, BurnLounge wasn't really interested in making any of their own money off of selling music. I mean, yeah, music was on offer, and that's how a lot of people thought they were making money, but no. See, this is a pyramid scheme. And in a pyramid scheme, the vast majority of the profits are coming from bringing in more people. And indeed, the Moguls were offered bonuses that range from $10 to $50 for selling product packages to other people. Or, well, recruiting, which is a far better deal than the literal pennies you get on the songs. I mean, if you get 10 friends to join in, even if they purchase the minimum package, that's $100 right there. And while some Moguls managed to make a pretty fair amount of money working under BurnLounge, most of the money, and by most I mean basically all of it, came from recruitment, not from music sales. Because again, Why would anyone buy music from here? There was really no benefit to doing so when iTunes is right there, and if you were the type to go to a random webpage to find music, I'm pretty sure you're searching for the kind of webpage that doesn't charge you at all for that sort of thing. The Federal Trade Commission would eventually look into BurnLounge, and part of their findings was that 90% of the bonuses paid were for packages tied to recruitment and not for music. And the compensation system was set up in such a way that, honestly, it was basically impossible to earn money using any other method. Even if you sold music legitimately, unless your random website in the corner suddenly became the hottest place to get music on the planet, and it won't, the only alternative was to recruit. Thus, by crunching the numbers here, using pure math, it wasn't possible for the vast majority of the Moguls to earn any money, or even break even on their investment. And of course, like any true, proper pyramid scheme, BurnLounge did their own endorsements by holding conferences and things of that nature, where the CEO would promote them, making fanciful claims about the company's prospects, as well as your ability to earn just so much money. During one, he even referenced a Mogul, their top earning Mogul, who he called JT, saying that JT had made $50,000 just 2 weeks prior to the conference, and that he'd probably be able to make $700,000 in that year. And I bet you're probably expecting me to say that JT doesn't exist. Well, no, the lie didn't go that far. JT did exist. His name was John Taylor. He lived in Houston, and he was indeed in the top position in BurnLounge's compensation structure. He was the #1 Mogul, and sometimes he even called himself as Retailer 001. While he was fairly successful, all things considered, especially by pyramid scheme standards, the truth was he didn't make nearly as much as claimed at all. Those numbers were woefully inflated. He was making money, but not that much money. Plus, by using JT as the example, it implied to the audience that anybody was capable of doing that, when in reality, no, JT just got really friggin' lucky. Most people would only lose money and time and annoy their friends trying to get them to join in or please buy music from my random crappy webpage instead of going on iTunes, which is right on your computer right now and connects directly to your phone. No, my webpage is obviously so much better. Please, guys, come on. I get a nickel if you buy one song. The nickel, you guys! And of course, while all these people were getting taken advantage of, the BurnLounge brass were just pocketing all this cash by doing basically nothing. They reported net revenues of $2.16 million in 2005, $19.16 million in 2006, and before they got shut down, in the first 6 months of 2007, they were sitting at $6.83 million. But they were, thankfully, shut down. Well, BurnLounge hired a bunch of lawyers who were pretty confident since Amway got away with what they did. BurnLounge, as I said, is not Amway. They are much worse. A classic pyramid scheme without question, and they got absolutely destroyed in court. The judge's ruling hinged on the notion that A, basically no one could make any money through BurnLounge, despite a few exceptions, and the fact that they had lied about the exceptions. They didn't make it clear that individuals like JT were not actually typical of what people could expect from opening a storefront through BurnLounge. In reality, most people would make absolutely nothing, and such information was never disclosed in any way, plus it didn't help them that it was clear that most of the money they were paying out to Moguls was for recruitment, not for selling any kind of product, music or otherwise. Textbook pyramid scheme. The defense, which was just adorable, pointed out that yes, they did offer these subscriptions, and yes, they offered commissions on those, but those subscriptions came with a bunch of products, like, you know, presents from the company, like BurnLounge magazine, because everyone wants that. And they could get 10 free music downloads and a music DVD every single month. Such a great deal. Thanks. That wasn't helping your case at all. And that point system was also kind of critical because, like I said, you had to pay them to get them to give you actual cash. Otherwise, you could use those points, but only within BurnLounge's own storefront, buying products they sold. They only paid you in fake money, and they were the other ones that would take their own fake money. You had to pay them for them to give you real money, which was often less than a single dollar. They lost in court, and the FTC saw to it that most of their moguls would make at least some of the money they had spent back. So it was kind of a good ending in the end. BurnLounge did attempt to rebrand themselves and go on even after this debacle. Their own website had a teaser trailer for BurnLounge 3.0, along with the statement, "Get ready," which stayed that way for about 10 years or so, until Adobe Flash Player was no longer supported and the site didn't work anymore. So yeah, that never went anywhere. They never succeeded in rebranding because they were a scam from the start. There was nothing interesting about them. There was no way their business model was ever going to work, unless of course the model was, in reality, just a way to scam people, which is exactly what it was. They did attempt to appeal the decision, but no. They're gone, and hopefully they're never coming back, because, they weren't a legitimate business at all. They were designed from the ground up as a way to take advantage of their own workforce. People were conned into believing they could have their own storefront selling music online, when in reality, no, you can't just do that on a whim, even through a service like this, especially when that same service is charging you exorbitantly, paying you in fake money, you're paying them to get real money, and the real money turns out to be a nickel. Yeah? Unless, of course, you bring all your friends and family in on it. Then you'll get actual money out of it. Of course, in that case, everyone around you is going to hate you, because inevitably, the majority of the people that actually sign up are going to get hosed by this, because it's impossible in any pyramid scheme for everyone to make money. It can't be done, and thus, BurnLounge is no more. And good riddance. And with that, a special thank you to all my underwater train finders, Some Dude 267, Benjamin Owens, Anzac A1, Arthur Roy, Jack Carson's Rare Videos, Lord Off 444, Iserfer 1405, Charles Kwiatkowski, Matt Weaver, Tom Red Lion, NS Productions 8104, Wheeljack 8401, Rescues Greyhounds, The Baxter, Caleb Crosswhite, Josh Johnson, Caleb Brainwaters, Prez Drenton, Master of None, Travis Dolinsky, JBL Explorers, Tommy Rossini, Ben McCullough, Panzer Kitsune 131-232, Mark Holding, Mr. Terevel, Hayden DeGrow, Bad Train Puns Are Best, Kurt Forkham, Mr. Sleepy, Harry, Drew Debris, George Kenny, Kevin Wood, Hendrick Motorsports Fan 5, Hannah Bird, Duraushi, A-Person 723, William Nemo, Dr. Racer 78, Shimasu, Metal for Life Guy, Andrew Bowen, Crimson Rose, Ryan Wehofer, Syntech M, Boss K, Orange Glass, Andy, The Conceptualist, Ohio Trucker 1, Windy City Rails, John Videola, AET Museum, NJ 1969, Extra Special J, Jonathan Coco, Kieran Tibbetts, DFL Church, Murder Dronestall, Bob Kondirk, Your Mom Liked It, Jared Brussel, Caden Alvey, Levi Anderson, Dara Williams, and of course, my dad. Till next time, this is Darkness, and a bid you all a fun farewell.